This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of Phatts TV, sanctioned by PA Phatts and the non-genetically proven son. Any and all words have been authorized during the show. There is nothing off limits. Nobody is restricted from watching and participating in the show. It is a free-for-all. Commencing at the siren, any and all discussions will be legal for an extended period of time. Sports, politics, and any and all controversial topics will be talked about. You have been warned. May God be with us all.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Phatts TV on this Thursday night, February the 18th, 2021. Joining me as always on the upper left-hand portion of the screen, coming to you live from his underground bunker deep in the heart of the liberal bastion land, Center County, Pennsylvania, just off campus of the Penn State University. This is Amishy-looking, non-genetically proven son.
Amishy-looking?
Yeah, the fescue is starting to get a little thick.
It's better than you ever could do.
I don't want to look Amishy, thank you.
I could hear myself.
Good job.
I didn't do it.
So, another snowstorm has blown through this area.
Yeah.
Don't think we got as much as they said we were going to get. And I got to finally, I'm almost eligible for AARP, and I finally got a snowblower.
Woo! Congratulations.
And I actually got it to work, which is saying something for me.
That is.
It is. Got to stand up a little straight. I was a little low on the screen. So, a couple things we want to talk about tonight. As I'm sure most of you know by now, conservative media icon Rush Limbaugh passed away yesterday at the age of 70 of cancer. Definitely an icon in conservative media. Not without his faults, for sure. So, just want to talk about tonight. We'll play a video or two about, how he was admired and how he was hated for some of the stuff that he said. And I'm one of them that both admired and I didn't like some of the stuff that he said. But there might have been a reason why he said it that way. And we'll touch on that in a little bit. Non-genetically proven son. I know you've listened to Rush, but I know you didn't listen to Rush often. I mean, you're still kind of new to the political side of life. But
yeah, thanks.
But what did you think of him on the few times you were able to watch/listen to him?
Well, whenever I would listen to him, most of the time I was up. Well, the first time I listened to him, I was up here. And one of the local radio stations covers the Fox, basically Fox Talk Radio, talks about, it has Rush and Hannity and
Mark Levin.
Yeah. And I didn't listen to Rush too often because he was on, I think, 12 to 3.
Yes.
So it was a little earlier for me for when I was actually doing stuff around.
Mm-hmm.
But
in other words, you weren't out of bed yet.
No, I usually don't go grocery shopping at 1. I usually go grocery shopping at like 7.
Gaia.
Or 6, so I listen to Hannity more often.
Gaia.
But I would listen to Rush because you got me into politics, and I know he talked about views that I agreed with, so I could listen to him about, most of the time I listened to him was around the election. Mm-hmm. So I could listen to what was going on, and then after the election I could hear about anything new in the political world that you didn't tell me about, because that was really the only way I got political news, was either from Hannity, Rush, or anything on like Facebook.
Got ya. Obviously, you probably agreed more than disagreed with him.
Yes.
You being more of the conservative philosophy.
Most of the things he said I would probably believe whether they were true or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because we agreed politically. So I would assume anything, let's say election, whatever, I would go with it and assume that it's real.
Got ya. Our message board is live if anybody wants to comment on their opinions of Rush, both good and bad. We take all kinds here. Whatever comments you want to post, just keep it adult. I once heard a saying a long time ago, many years ago, and I don't know who said it, and I'm not going to get it, quote unquote, word for word, perfectly right. But if you were to think of this quote and then think of people who might fit into these categories, Rush would definitely be one. And that is, you've achieved greatness when half the people love you and half the people hate you. You could definitely say that about Rush Limbaugh. You could certainly say that about other people. Think of like Howard Stern. And we're going to touch on Howard Stern a little bit. As for me, I listened to Rush mostly during my college years as well. Back, long time ago. long time ago. Back when the Republicans took control of the House of Representatives in 1994, for the first time in 40 some odd years, by the way, Newt Gingrich became Speaker of the House, and he basically said, yeah, we won because of Rush Limbaugh. I mean, what he did for the conservative movement was, he brought it mainstream. What helped Rush is the FCC used to have, hello Kiana, the FCC used to have a ruling, and they've talked about bringing this back, and I hope they don't, that when you're going to, for political talk, if a radio station is going to play an hour of conservative talk, they had to play an hour of liberal/progressive talk. There had to be equal time. So that always kept conservative radio down, because you don't really know a lot of left-wing radio media. It's more dominated by right-wing. Well, the FCC lifted that ban in the middle to late 80s, if I remember correctly, and that really is what propelled Rush into becoming what Rush became. Because now all of a sudden, radio stations all around the country could carry him, and they didn't have to give time to the other viewpoint, because there wasn't any to give. So that's basically how he got big. Back then, he stuck pretty much to politics when he would talk. It was later on when he started to get into some social issues where he lost me. And I'm going to play a video that was on CNN about a year ago that talked about this. And yes, it's from CNN, so of course they're going to give it in a negative slant for Rush. But a lot of it is very factual. I mean, he said some controversial things, without a doubt. Now, is that how he felt? Is that actually his opinion? Who knows? Was he saying it just to get ratings? Because remember, you're great when half the people love you and half the people hate you. I want to play a clip from a movie that epitomizes this. I have to turn it up because it's a little low when I play the volume. It's only like 37 seconds long. And most of you, especially people my age, will know this movie. It's a movie called Private Parts. It's basically about Howard Stern and how he got big. And this is a scene more after the middle of the movie with Paul Giamatti and Peter Maloney talking about Howard's ratings. It's 37 seconds long. So let's play it, and I might have to turn the mics up a little bit, but this is very factual about what goes on. So let's play this.
The average radio listener listens for 18 minutes. The average Howard Stern fan listens for, are you ready for this? An hour and 20 minutes.
How can that be?
Answer most commonly given, I want to see what he'll say next.
All right, okay, fine. But what about the people who hate Stern?
Good point. The average Stern hater listens for 2.5 hours a day.
Look, but if they hate him, why do they listen?
Most common answer, I want to see what he'll say next.
I want to see what he'll say next. So, knowing that information is pretty factual, that whether you're loved or whether you're hated, you are going to be listened to in Rush's case, or watched if you're on TV. Is that why he said some of the controversial things that he said? I mean, you cannot defend some of his statements in any way, shape, or form. And we'll play a couple of them.
In a writer's standpoint, yes, you want to say something that would throw up these very wide range of opinions that are very controversial because more people will listen.
Yes.
Whether they like it or not, for some reason people will listen. Doesn't really make sense.
Yes.
Why somebody who would hate somebody wants to listen to them just because, hey, I want to see what else they say.
Yes.
You think they would go find someone that they agree with.
Exactly. Lord knows that for those of you that actually know me personally, you know I'm not politically correct. To say the least. I don't say things that shouldn't be said, by all means. There's certain things you should never say. Whether you believe them or not, you just don't go there. But yeah, I mean, Lord knows, of all the people that know me personally, it might be hard to believe, but there's a good segment of them that don't like me. By the way, non-genetically proven son, at least as of a couple of years ago, there was a segment that didn't like you either. Especially in the bowling community.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, I'm not super quiet and saying nothing.
Yes. So let's pull up this clip from CNN. And it's from a little over a year ago. It was right after the State of the Union address when he got the Medal of Freedom. Which, by the way, I support what President Trump did that night, giving him the Medal of Freedom and where he did it. I don't like when stuff like that occurs, where half of Congress stands and the other half of Congress sits. If we're talking about a person, whether you agree with what he says or not, you stand and you clap for the guy. That's just being civil. Lord knows the political left, although they preach tolerance, Lord knows they're anything but. Just go look at what Twitter had to say after Rush's death, became news. There's not a lot of very tolerant people on the left. Let's just put it that way. To keep it
Sure, they were happy.
adult. What?
I'm sure they were happy.
The phrase rotten effing hell was used a lot. Let's just put it that way. So let's watch this CNN thing. It's like 3.5 minutes long. So we'll see in 3.5 minutes.
As long as you're here Monday, I will tell you what happened.
Rush Limbaugh rose to fame with his gift for political gab on talk show radio and later online.
Somebody to stand up for you.
The conservative talk show host's words reach millions, including the ear of the man who has become president.
To be an American.
As Limbaugh faces a deadly battle with lung cancer, President Trump has awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Rush Limbaugh, thank you for your decades of tireless devotion to our country.
Limbaugh has lived the American dream, but at the same time, he's used his words to make a mockery of that dream, sometimes sharing xenophobic, misogynistic, and racist sentiments with the masses. This is how he chose to speak of a New York Yankee icon the day he died in 2010.
Steinbrenner has passed away at age 80. That cracker made a lot of African-American millionaires.
In 2011, Limbaugh decided to...
All right, so I want to stop right there. I do want to say one thing about that. That was taking way out of context. And that's how the media could fool people. If you go and listen to the entire clip of that, you would know that Rush didn't mean what he said. He was paraphrasing it in a way that how others were thinking of Steinbrenner. He just happened to choose the words to say it because it was his show. So, that's all I want to say about that one.
to mock the Chinese president during his visit to the United States.
Hu Jintao was just going
Limbaugh attacked those who didn't share his political ideas with a fervor and harshness that stood out amongst his talk show peers.
As you might know, I care deeply about stem cell research.
When actor Michael J. Fox, who suffers from Parkinson's disease, did this ad for a Democratic candidate who supported stem cell research, Limbaugh pounced.
This is Michael J. Fox. He's got Parkinson's disease. And in this commercial, he is exaggerating the effects of the disease. He is moving all around and shaking, and it's purely an act.
After outrage over his comments, Limbaugh apologized the next day, saying, "I will hugely admit that I was wrong." In 2012, when a Georgetown law student spoke to House Democrats to support mandating insurance companies cover contraceptives, Limbaugh called her a slut and a prostitute, and then this.
So, Ms. Fluke, and the rest of you feminazis, here's the deal. If we are going to pay for your contraceptives and thus pay for you to have sex, we want something for it. And I'll tell you what it is. We want you to post the videos online so we can all watch.
He later apologized for that too. But he reserved...
All right. So, going to stop it here. The next part of this says a word or two that I don't like. That will never come out of my mouth. But I want to play the video to emphasize how controversial he was. Then I want to circle back, like the White House press secretary, circle back. And I want to talk about the Michael J. Fox incident a little bit.
Reserved a great deal of his racist comments for one man, Barack Obama, both as president and as a candidate. In 2007, as Obama campaigned on hope and change, Limbaugh debuted a racist parody of Puff the Magic Dragon, sung by a candidate for chairman of the Republican National Committee.
Barack the Magic Negro.
Then Limbaugh defended his decision to air it.
Every one of you out there that think you've got something here on Barack the Magic Negro, I'm going to try to help you and save you.
His adoring fans believed he was saving them from liberal bias, but his critics recognize he also delivered hateful rhetoric that helped usher in a new era of extreme political polarization. Allison, John.
All right, so that was that. And as I said, there's a word in there that's completely god-awful and should never be said. So when the YouTube bots catch that and want to take this video down, when I appeal it, please know that I'm trying to say how bad it was that Rush said this. I'm not praising it in any way. I'm saying how bad it is. What really turned me off about Rush is what he did with Michael J. Fox. I remember that very vividly. I don't know anybody personally that suffers from Parkinson's disease. Sometimes I wonder, though, if I'm going to have it when I get older, because I just start to shake at times. Nothing, obviously, like that. But, I mean, that was just uncalled for in every way imaginable. You can't defend that in any way, shape, or form. Any way at all. So, as I said, a media giant, whether he said that stuff because that's what his feelings is or his opinions, who knows? Or did he say it to generate controversy to bring more people to listen to his show? Again, the people that hate you are going to listen to you just as much as the people that love you. No idea. No idea. Anybody have anything to say? Any opinions at all on Rush? We're not getting many comments anymore, and I love comments. By the way, Rush's show was 3 hours, and he didn't take very many phone calls. Didn't have a lot of interviews. It was mostly him, and that's hard to do. Lord knows I try to do shows that are an hour, and when the non-genetically one over there doesn't have much to say, it's hard for me to be able to talk for an hour. Even with my big mouth.
Imagine doing it every day, though, for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he probably has script writers to help figure out what he should talk about.
Right, but he's certainly not reading from a script.
No, he has bullet points, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
And some notes under his bullet points.
Yes. Yes. I mean, his catchphrases made him come off as he was better than everybody else. You know, talent on loan from God, he would say. He would make reference that to make it fair for Democrats, he would do his show with half of his brain tied behind his back to make it fair. Stuff like that. Again, say stuff like that. It draws attention to you. Ergo, brings more people to your show. Those that love you and those that hate you.
Well, we certainly know that Family Guy did not like him.
Yes, Family Guy did an episode with him, and yeah.
It was in an episode, and he was in many flashbacks / cutaways, or mentioned in any way.
Yes. Yes. He did get big enough in the middle 90s where, for a while, he had his own nightly TV show as well. I forget if it was on at 10 or 11 or 11:30. for, I think it was either half an hour or an hour, but I used to watch that too. Same format basically that when he was on the radio, pretty much. So if nobody else has anything to say, we will move on to something else. Anybody? Anybody? Bueller? Bueller? Anybody? No. Okay. Let's move on. Don't have much new to say about me running for president. The exploratory committee has been formed. No, I didn't use my coupon yet for the Grand Slam breakfast at Denny's. Have not. Yes, I still plan on giving everybody free beer that wants it. Those of you in Wisconsin, you'll get free brats,
why do
too.
you want free beer?
What?
You don't even like beer, though.
So what?
So, why do you want beer?
Well, what's the percentage of adults that like it?
60, probably?
Okay.
70, maybe?
So if I get, out of everybody that votes, if I get everybody who likes beer to vote for me, am I going to win?
Yes.
There you go. That's why.
You'd win California if everybody that likes beer voted for you.
Again, I got
You'd win all these states.
I got the South locked up already.
Got the South locked up. The South, you literally in the South have to win 2 states. That's it.
Yes.
Every state is automatically red except Florida and for some reason now Georgia.
Yes. I mean, Florida could be tough. I might have to, trying to be funny here, stick a little Geritol in the beer.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
It's vitamins for old people.
You got to carry the Cuban vote.
That's easy.
How's that easy? Free cigars?
I'll play reruns of I Love Lucy every day. Plus, I'm Catholic. Cubans are Catholic.
Okay.
And they're a growing conservative bloc as well. And Lord knows, I would be a populist in a conservative light, definitely when it comes to economics. But I'll be all about the little guy. Trust me, I will be treated just as bad by the elites as President Trump was. Probably even worse.
Probably worse.
But I will win a second term because nobody's going to beat free beer. Unless if you offer free Mary Jane as well.
Oh, then you'll carry 90% of the country.
So
you'll win by 50 million votes.
Yeah. So don't forget you people in Wisconsin. I gotta carry Wisconsin. That's pretty good. You're gonna get free brats as well.
You don't have to carry Wisconsin.
Yes. Yes.
You need 2 of Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin.
Ohio has moved mostly red. I'm not gonna worry about not carrying that. If I don't carry Ohio, it's over. I'll carry Ohio. I'm not worried about that. Pennsylvania, a lot of rednecks up in those woods in northern Pennsylvania. Yes, I know that's not where the population is.
It's like nobody lives up there. It's woods. There's nobody there.
But what do I have going for me in southeastern Pennsylvania? A lot of college kids. What do a lot of college kids like to do?
Right.
How many college campuses are party campuses in the state of Pennsylvania?
Oh, all right. Penn State, Bloomsburg, East Stroudsburg. Just to name a few. UPenn, Temple, Villanova.
And there's a lot more.
I'm just naming some big ones.
Yes, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. I'll win Pennsylvania. If I have to win Michigan, I will wear a Michigan Wolverines sweatshirt.
Ew, don't, no.
Thankfully...
Ohio State sweatshirt.
No, I don't need to because I got Ohio in the bag. So I won't need to do that.
Like a Michigan State sweatshirt.
Well,
I'd rather you wear Michigan State.
I understand that, but Michigan is more popular amongst. Actually, Ohio State is more popular amongst than either of them in the state of Michigan. If you believe that one chart that we showed one time on the show, it was the most popular colleges. No, the most popular sports teams by state, and the most popular sports team in Michigan was Ohio State football. Okay.
If you wear a Michigan sweatshirt, you ain't carrying any college vote in Ohio.
Well, I'll be sure that Ohio media doesn't pick it up and play it.
All right. Well, you're such a little guy. You might only have local media picking you up.
I'm not a little guy.
Little political spectrum guy.
We're about to talk about why I'm fat. That's the next segment. I'm not a little guy.
When you said the media will rip you worse, I said because of your weight.
I'm like Kamala of the WWE.
You'll be the next William Howard Taft. You're going to get stuck in a bathtub.
I got stuck in a chimney.
It almost didn't get through a door.
So the story goes. Go back to our Christmas episode. All right, so that's what's up. Nothing new on the election. We will do a show one time about what we got to do to get on the ballot. Like, which states we definitely got to try to get on the ballot. We don't have to get on the ballot in every one. Kiana, sorry. You in Hawaii, I don't think I need to be on the ballot in Hawaii. Kind of can't see that.
Yeah, there's not many colleges there either, so
no.
There's like 2 or 1.
Yeah. California, probably don't need. Oregon, nobody would like me in Oregon. Washington, nobody would like me there. No. Vermont, forget it. I mean, if I were to give free drugs, I'd carry Vermont. You know, Ben and Jerry's is up that way.
You'll carry Vermont.
All right.
You don't forget about it.
So the last segment of the show tonight is I saw a post on Facebook and I shared it. And it kind of got me thinking, you know, when I was growing up, I was as skinny as a toothpick. I was seriously, at the beginning of 7th grade, I weighed 73 pounds. I remember this. For those of you that don't know me, I have a really good long-term memory. My short-term memory sucks. I don't remember what I talked about 30 seconds ago. But I can remember exactly what I said a decade and a half ago. It's just the way I am. But yes, I can remember being in 7th grade and weighing 73 pounds. I think my foot now weighs 73 pounds. Keeping it real. So I came across this. Now, for those of you that don't know, I grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania. Yes, I'm a coal cracker. My grandfather worked in the mines of northeastern Pennsylvania. So I came across foods that are very popular in northeastern Pennsylvania. None of them are healthy. And I eat 8 out of the 9 of them. One of them I would love to eat a lot more. But nobody around in this area makes it. So I got to figure out how to make it, or I got to beg some business down here to start making it. So let's put up the picture. And the non-genetically proven son and I will rank them from our least favorite to our most favorite, because he likes most of these too.
All right, I guess I got to get a card out here.
There's only 9 of them.
Well, no, it's fine.
The pictures are there. So, these are 9 popular foods of northeastern Pennsylvania, and when I show the picture, you'll understand why I'm fat. All right. So, from top to bottom, left to right, you see you have pizza up in the upper left. Now, that's a specialty kind of pizza. It's called Old Forge style pizza. Old Forge style pizza is unlike any other pizza you've ever tasted. All you need to do is to have one bite and you would know it's not like any other pizza you've had. The sauce is very sweet. It's on basically a Sicilian type crust, a thicker crust. And usually it's just sauce and cheese and onions. Now, when I get it, I don't like my pizza full of onions, so I get it without onions. But let's say if I were to talk to 1,000 people that have tried Old Forge style pizza, I would say probably 975 of them would like it, would love it, and 25 wouldn't care for it. Number 2, the peanut butter bunnies in the middle. We could take this as 2 ways. We could call them smidgens, but I think that picture actually represents Gertrude Hawk's chocolate, which is made in northeastern Pennsylvania. And the non-genetically proven son will tell you how much I love Gertrude Hawk's chocolate.
True.
True. Very true.
Yeah, but then never gets it for Christmas.
Actually, your crazy Aunt Roz got me it this Christmas because I told her, I really prefer the Gertrude Hawk's chocolate. They used to have stores all around the country in malls.
That they did.
The chocolate covered, the milk chocolate covered pretzels were my favorite. Let me know if anybody puts anything up on the message board since I don't have it up.
Okay.
Upper right, kielbasi. Polish food. Think of it as a sausage with a slightly different taste to it. It's got a smokier taste to it. It doesn't taste like a sausage taste. If you've ever had Little Smokies, that's kind of what kielbasi will taste like. It's really good if you cut it up and you slow cook it in barbecue sauce, especially brown sugar flavored barbecue sauce. That's the bomb. That's the bomb. Middle left, of course, is chicken wings. Now, I think they put chicken wings on here because there's a place right by my hometown. I won't say the town name, but there was a tavern in town that for years and years and years and years and years was known as the second best wings worldwide. Their wings were really good. Really good. The middle picture is basically a Coney Island dog. Very popular up there. Then we get to the middle right. Middlesworth potato chips. Now they put the barbecue there because the barbecue is far more popular than the regular flavor. Again, you either are going to love Middlesworth and you're going to think they're the best chip ever invented, or you're not really going to care for it. It won't be just an it's okay for you. You're either going to love it or you're not going to care for it. Then we get to the bottom left, and we have another pizza, which is made in northeastern Pennsylvania. I've been eating it basically since I came out of the womb. In fact, if there was a way to liquefy it and put it in my bottle, I'm sure my mother did. And that's Nardone Brothers Pizza. No El Presidente Dave Portnoy. It's not known as Nardoni, as you call it in your video. Nardone Brothers Pizza.
Like a 4.
The one interesting thing about Nardone's Pizza, I will say more than 50% of people that have it and like it are going to tell you they like it better right out of the box. right out of the box. In fact, if you go to our we have an early show from last year where we taste tested 3 different ways to have Nardone's pizza. Do you remember that, non-genetically proven son?
I do.
We tried it cold, right out of the box. We tried it to their cooking instructions. And then we did it to the way I like to cook it. I like to cook it on very low temperature, like 200 degrees, for like 8 or 9 minutes. And the cheese gets really, 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 really gooey and thick. And it lays across the entire slice of pizza. It's really good that way. For those of you that may or may not have your favorite pizza place, if you were to get them to take the pizza out of the oven and immediately, instead of putting it in a box, they were to take a pizza tray and put it on top. So you have a tray, the pizza, and then the pizza tray, you know, the metal trays that they serve the pizza on. So it locks in the moisture of the pizza. If they did that for like 20 minutes, it tastes just like this with the gooey cheese. My local pizza place, if they're not busy, will do that for me. And it's, in fact, they were the ones that taught me how to do that. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. Middle right, the pierogi. Or as my mom used to call it, the padogi.
Yeah.
She had some strange ways to say some foods. I'm sure most of you know what a pierogi is.
Should we specifically say the Perkowski ones? Or whatever?
Huh?
Whatever the pierogies we get up there.
Petrosky's.
Petrosky, my
yes.
dad.
Perkowski was my mother's maiden name.
Well, close enough. Petrosky.
Do we have anything on the message board yet?
We don't.
Okay. So, yeah, for those of you that buy pierogies in a store, better than 50-50 chance you buy Mrs. T's pierogies.
They're okay. You hate them.
Which are made in Shenandoah 462, as the saying goes.
Yeah, you hate Mrs. T's, but Petrowski's are your favorite.
Yes.
Fun fact, Kiana didn't really care for them. She thought pierogies were weird. She didn't understand them.
Well, I think she's weird.
She did not understand. She ate it and said it's okay.
It's potato wrapped in dough. Well, how did you make them for her? Because there's several different ways to make them.
I fried them in butter.
Frying them is very good.
My
very good way.
Favorite way to make them. Just right in butter. That's it.
You could boil them. You could fry them. You could deep fry them. You could put them in like a toaster oven. One of the things that we have. What do we have?
Air fryer.
An air fryer. They come out really good in that. But yeah, pan frying them with butter and onions. That's really good. Or even boiling them for a couple minutes and then pan frying them. Very good. Very good. Homemade ones are better than store-bought. I have a funny story about Mrs. T's pierogies, if you'll let me indulge you for a minute. I used to work at a place. My boss retired, and so they brought in a guy. And good guy, very, very nice guy. Unfortunately, he's passed away a few years ago. I used to go. There used to be this little pizza joint a mile from where I worked, and I'd occasionally get a couple slices for lunch from there. And I walked in there one time, and he was there. His name was Steve. I won't mention his last name. And he was there waiting for his order, so I sat with him, and I said, "Oh, what are you getting?" He said, "Dad, just an order of pierogies." I said, they serve Mrs. T's here, and Mrs. T's suck. And he just started laughing. Okay, why are you laughing? He goes, "Did I ever tell you where I grew up?" I said, "No." He goes, "I grew up in Shenandoah." I said, oh, well, then you know Mrs. T's Pierogies then. He goes, yeah, my grandmother and my uncle started the company. Oops. Talk about your open mouth insert foot moment. I will say, though, he did agree with me that when you freeze them and ship them, they lose a lot of their flavor. If you go up to their plant, the Mrs. T's plant in Shenandoah, you could go in and taste test them as they make them, and then they're a lot better.
Then they're actually probably pretty good.
They are. But if you can find places that make them homemade, oh, no wonder why I'm fat. Bottom right, just a simple hoagie. Yes, they're called hoagies up there, not subs. Not whatever you might want to call them. Up there, they're known as hoagies. Typically cold sandwiches. You know, your Italian, your ham and cheese. I'm not a huge cold hoagie fan. I'm more of a hot, like a chicken parm, cheesesteak kind of guy. But for this example, we'll do the cold hoagie. So, non-genetically proven. So, what would be your least favorite on this?
I gotta go with the hoagie.
I would agree. I'll go with the hoagie as well. What would be your next?
The hot dog.
The Coney Island hot dog.
Coney Island, yeah.
I am going to agree with you unless you go eat at a restaurant in my hometown called the Caruana. The Caruana is just this little hole-in-the-wall place. They've moved down the street from where they originally were. But when I was a kid, when I would go in there, that place, it was so greasy. They had wooden benches and wooden tables for you to sit at. It was like an old-fashioned diner that, it wasn't very wide. It was longer than it was wide. And you could literally go in there and you would sit. You'd place your order, then you would go sit down. And you could literally drag your finger across the wood table and just feel the grease. The 20, the 2 or 3 or 6 decades worth of grease that have built up on these wooden furniture. But God, was their food delicious. Coney Island dogs, Coney Island burgers. Oh, God, were they delicious. Next on your list.
I gotta go.
I'm sure we're going to agree on this one, too.
I probably gotta go the chicken wings.
Oh, no, we disagree. All right, so why chicken wings?
Well, I decided that just because everything else left is good.
Okay.
So I think I've never had this chicken wing place you were talking about. So I would probably just, chicken wings are chicken wings.
Do you know where it's at up there? Do you know
Not
which place it's at? It's right across the street from Wayne's. You know Wayne's, don't you?
Yeah.
Right across the street. Called the Windsor. All right, so you would say wings. I will say the kielbasa.
Ooh.
As much as I do like it, I don't eat it all that often. But like I
I
said,
didn't see that coming.
the best way to make it is to slice it and then slow cook it in barbecue sauce, the brown sugar flavored barbecue sauce. Oh, it's so good. It is so good. Next.
I gotta go with the chocolate.
Okay. All right.
People that know me know as I've gotten older, I can barely eat anything sweet and a lot of it. So after I eat, I could not eat a whole chocolate bar anymore.
Wow.
Maybe a half a chocolate bar before I'm just saying, eh.
Wow. I really like everything else that's on here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put the chocolate there as well. Again, Gertrude Hawk's to me though is the best chocolate ever made. I mean, a lot of people like Hershey's chocolate, and Hershey's chocolate is really good. But God, Gertrude Hawk's chocolate is so good, especially their milk chocolate. Oh, it's, dare I say, orgasmic. Any comments yet?
No.
Oh, you people are boring. Boring. All right, so you have the two pizzas, the kielbasa, the chips, and the pierogies.
Yeah.
I have the entire left side, the pierogies and the chips.
Yeah.
All right, so what's next?
I might have to go Nardone's Pizza here.
Interesting.
It's good, but I've had 1.5 million better pizzas. Like, it's, to me, when you cook it, it gets worse.
So you're one of the people that like it cold right out of the box.
Yeah, it's better. It's best cold, but it's not something I could eat a lot.
Okay.
So, like, if I bought a box, I'm not sure I'd finish it by the time it went bad.
Oh, God, I finished a box in 3 days.
I know.
A box, by the way, is 12 slices of square, about that big per slice.
I like how you go that big.
Oh, yeah, I don't have the picture up.
Can't see you.
Hold on. That's right. Put me back up for a second. Nardone's is about that big per slice. And it gets mass produced, and sometimes they have too much sauce on them, but most of the time it's just loaded with cheese.
Yeah.
All right, I am going to put. It gets hard after this.
Yeah, it's hard.
I'm going to put the chicken wings here. Although I do really like chicken wings. I could go to an all-you-can-eat chicken wing place and just chow down all night long. I have no problem doing that. I like a bunch of different flavors of chicken wings. I'm not, like, in the mild and hot and all that stuff. I like the barbecue, the honey mustard, the ranch. I like the different flavors.
Oh, do you even like dry rubs? Like,
yeah, dry rubs. Yeah,
popcorn or
yeah, some dry rubs are fine. I've only ever tried like quadruple suicide wings once.
Oh God.
There used to be at the Reading Airport a restaurant, and they used to have all-you-can-eat wings. I think it was on a Thursday night, and me and a couple of my friends went there. And one of my friends ordered them, and he's like, all right, everyone's got to take at least one bite. I took one bite, and my mouth was still on fire like 3.5 hours later.
If anybody knows anything about me, they know I'm a complete wuss when it comes to spice. I think mild wings are spicy.
I think you're a complete wuss at everything, but that's besides the point.
Thanks.
All right, so we have 4 left.
I gotta put the kielbasa here.
Okay, all right.
I would make it more if it wasn't expensive. It's a little pricey to buy.
It is. It's
one of those things that it's like I wouldn't make it all that often, but it's really exciting to go to Christmas and eat it.
Yeah,
because it's really good.
Yes. When we go at my sister's house for Christmas Eve, Crazy Aunt Raj, she always makes it, and she does put it in that barbecue sauce, and it's in fuego. It's so good, so good. All right, so you're left with the Old Forge style pizza, the pierogies, and the chips.
Yes.
I have the Old Forge style pizza, the pierogies, the chips, and Nardone's pizza. So here, I'm probably going to surprise you a little bit. I'm putting the chips here. There is no chip better than Middlesworth barbecue chips, in my mind. That big 15-ounce bag, I could have that gone in a half a day. Without a problem.
Yeah.
Except I'm going to have something to drink there, because after you eat enough of them, your mouth does start to burn a little. They do really barbecue, like they put, like it's like dry barbecue almost.
Yeah.
Like you could imagine as the chips are coming down the conveyor belt, them just going through like these big shakers of barbecue. And
they dump it on there.
Yes. And like by the time the bag is empty, like you could literally reach in and just like grab some of that residue barbecue. And I'm sure those of you that had Middleswarth chips don't deny that you haven't done that. Because we've all done that.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yes. Yes. All right, you're number 3.
I got to put the chips here as well.
Okay. All right.
Like you said, I don't know if they're the best chip I've ever had, but like they're way better than like people that would eat like, I don't know, Lay's or Doritos. They're not even comparable.
No.
They're like a soft chip too. They're not really that crunchy. They're like real soft.
Yes.
They have like a mild crunch, but then like you said, the barbecue's just tastes different.
Yes. It's amazing, like all the comments that are on the left. I was reading a bunch of them, and it's a surprise. They say, "Oh, I like them all, but the chips." I'm like, what? 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 All right, so now we get to the final 3. For me. This is hard. This is where it gets hard for me. But we're going to have the same 2 left over. I'm putting the Nardones here. As much as I love Nardones, I'm putting it here. I remember back in the day. By the way, there's a lot of different Nardones products, pizza-wise. But this is the one, the 12-cut box is what you see the most. They used to make a 6-cut. And they used to put it on a styrofoam tray. My brother used to work at a grocery store. In fact, I worked at the same grocery store when I got a little older. I remember many, many times he would come home with the 6-cut, go up to his room, eat it cold, the whole thing. 6 cuts, bang, 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 gone. Bang, 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 gone. Gone. Again, you like it cold. I like it cooked the way I like it. At 200 degrees for 8 or 9 minutes. Get the cheese all gooey, 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 gooey. It's really good in a toaster oven then, and if you let it cook longer, because then it gets crunchy down at the bottom as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have the same 2 left over. We got the Old Forge style pizza, and we got the Nani Padogis.
Yeah.
Which is your number 2?
Well, can I make it a tie? this one's tough.
No, you cannot make it a tie.
I'm going to have to go with Padogis.
Okay.
I only do this because I can't always have the Petrosky ones, so, and I'm almost out of them. I only have about a bag left.
Me too.
So when I'm out of them, that's it till next Christmas.
Unless if crazy Aunt Roz wants to bring us some.
True. But I do like Mrs. T's pierogies. I don't think they're nearly as good, but I like them still.
All right. So you're going to put the pierogies there for number 2. There is a couple store-bought brand of pierogies I like. There used to be a kind up in northeastern Pennsylvania called Bibelots. Bibelots were really good. They were good. And for a while, there used to be a company where the co-founder, the 2 co-founders grew up in northeastern Pennsylvania, and they moved out to Indiana, I think it was. And they started a pierogi company called Pierogi Guy Pierogies. They were really good. In fact, they actually somehow convinced Hershey Park for a couple of years to get rid of Mrs. T's and start selling their pierogies there. They were really good. So, am I going to choose the Old Forge style pizza, or am I going to choose the pierogies? So, if the pierogies are Mrs. T's, first off, they're not my number 2. Then they would be my number 8 or 9. But we're going to assume they're the homemade that you could get any place that makes homemade ones, any churches that make them, Polish style churches or Ukrainian style churches. People up north that make them non-store bought. And then we got the Old Fort style pizza. There's not a pizza in this world that beats, to me, an Old Fort style pizza out of all the ones that I've tasted. It's even better than whatchamacallit out in Pittsburgh that I rave about so much. Vincent's that I rave about. Old Fort style pizza is a taste all to its own. But if I have to pick between them, it's tough. My number 2 is going to be the Old Forge style pizza. And I think that surprises you a little bit. And there's only one reason why I'm picking it number 2. As great as that pizza is, it does not reheat well. It really loses its flavor if you have to reheat it. That's my only problem. Like when I'm up in Wilkes-Barre for bowling tournaments, where I cover bowling tournaments, is if we don't go out to eat and eat it there, if I pick up a tray and bring it home that it's already cooled down in the hour-and-a-half drive, it doesn't taste quite as well. Now, Vincent's Pizza out in Pittsburgh heats up fantastically.
Vincent's Pizza is great cold.
Yes, it is
the
great
cheese
cold
is very
too.
thick and it doesn't stretch and just get
just
a block of cheese.
But because of the fact that I've yet to have any Old Fort style pizza that heats up good, I'm going to put that number 2.
And I think that's where me and you disagree. I'm not going to say it reheats good because I don't think I've ever actually reheated it. I think it's really good when it cools down too. Because the cheese thickens up and then you could just eat it.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I think it's just as good fresh and cold.
If you're ever up in northeastern Pennsylvania, I would suggest not eating for about 3 days. And just go to Old Forge, suburb of Scranton, and just pick 10 pizza joints in Old Forge. Old Forge isn't that big of an area. But basically, on every block, there's about 17 pizza places. And they all make Old Forge style pizza. I would suggest picking 10 and just getting 10 trays of Old Forge style pizza and just trying them and see for yourself. Or go to Wilkes-Barre and do the same thing.
I'm going to look around up here. Maybe they have some around here.
You ought to look. I know there's not any down here, and I've talked to a couple places about trying it, and they tell me, well, bring me some so I could taste it. But again, by the time you bring it down here, it loses its flavor to me. So I got pierogies as number 1. So Kiana, too bad. Homemade pierogies are the bomb. Oh, they are so good. So good. Oh. Again, if we're talking about store-bought, nah, it's 8 or 9. Talking homemade, oh, God. Especially pan-fried. Pan-fried by far is the way to do it. Not deep-fried. Boiled is okay. I would never... Deep-fried pierogies, Pan-fried is the way to go in butter. Oh, God. All right. So we agree on the top 2, but we have reversed the order. Basically. So yeah, we're going to have a party with pierogies. Actually, this is almost like what it's like at Christmas time up at Ross's. We got the Old Fort style pizza. We got chicken, not chicken wings. We got chicken strips. We got pierogies. We got kielbasi. All we need is the chips, basically.
Yeah.
It's basically Christmas up at Crazy Aunt Roz's house.
Yeah.
Basically.
And if you want a cold cut, you can get one from the pizza place. If we ate the hot dogs, we would probably make those too.
Yes. Tom Yost remembers Vincent's Pizza from when we were out there.
Yeah, wasn't it him and his kid that both ate 3 and everybody else ate 2?
Yes, pretty much. The only thing that I remember is the one that had all the meats on it.
Oh.
And by all the meats, like if you got a meat lover's pizza for Vincent's Pizza, like the bacon, they would just lay full strips of bacon across the pizza.
It was full strips. The sausage was like half meatballs.
Yeah, it was like the size of a meatball. And
pepperonis were just big
chunks, yeah. And just a couple hours later, you're going to have a gas attack that will clear out Chernobyl. think of something. Think of like a 10-mile radius will get cleared out. I remember when we went out there that what's his name was like that. He got gassed. The short guy.
Alec.
Yeah, he got gassed, and I remember his dad commenting the next day. It was like, thanks.
He got gas all the time.
Well, trust me, that's a special kind of gas out there when you try that. All right, so that is our show for tonight. We did go actually a little over an hour. I know you want to go watch Penn State lose to Ohio State.
They lost by 4 last time.
Yeah, well, they'll lose by 24 tonight. What do you know?
24? Ohio State's number 4. We need this win.
Well, yeah, because you lost to Nebraska at home.
And Michigan State.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did lose to Nebraska at home, though, didn't we?
Yes. All right, so that is our show, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight. We'll be back next Tuesday to talk about whatever the heck we feel like talking about. So until then, as always, where we go one,
we go all.
Have a great weekend, ladies and gentlemen.